Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Luke. Today I'll be talking about The Day of the Jackal. This is a series streaming on Peacock. It originally streamed on a service called Sky, and then eventually Peacock picked it up. Now, I probably should have done my research before watching this series because I did not realize that this is a story that's been told before. There was a movie that came out of the same title in the 70s. There was also another movie that came out later, I believe in the 90s, starring Bruce Willis, and I believe that one's just called The Jackal. And once I had that kind of clicked with me, I do remember seeing part of that movie. I think it's a movie I never watched all the way through, but now I kind of want to go check it out. But either way, this just kind of showed up near the end of last year on Peacock, and I decided to check it out, originally thinking, oh, this is something I could just throw on in the background while I'm working. But oh no, this movie gets you involved right away and quickly. It's a 10-episode series primarily following an assassin played by Redmayne called the Jackal. We also have Lashana Lynch as Bianca, who is the agent going after this assassin. I think what really worked for me in this series is that it's very well developed and thought out. I wouldn't call this series a slow burn in any way, but the way they handle the pacing around the decisions these characters make is very, very well done. So let's start with our main character of the Jackal. So this is an assassin that is basically going out to kill people with the highest bidders. He's gotten himself in a situation with particular people, and that's where the story revolves around, kind of a mixture of like these people did not pay him, or there are some other things involved with an organization. I think what's super cool with this character as well is that he's very trained. We are set up with the initial assassination that is done at a distance that most believe just could not happen. And that's where Bianca comes in. She is investigating this assassination, and the way that they find it is that, you know, the shooter was miles away, and they don't believe that there's any rifle that could make this happen, or even any individual that could pull this shot off. And that's where we get a little bit more backstory into Redmayne's character later in the series, where we can understand, like, you know, why he's doing what he's doing, how he's been trained. The cool part of this is just this world that we live in, is that this is weapons that he's having custom made so that he can easily get through security at like airports or, you know, travel destinations and just kind of bypass everything without getting caught. And I thought that was super cool. That's the other aspect of the Jackal, is that Redmayne's character, he's basically disguising himself. So he's changing his appearance, changing his voice. He's putting in the time and the research to figure out who does he need to get to, who's close to them, can he mimic them in any way? And that's where this like slow burn pace comes into play here. We're watching as he's really just spending his time to understand these people, understand what he needs to do, and take the time. There are some pretty cool moments where he is setting up for his shot, but he will sit there and wait. He will wait for days if he has to make sure that he can take this shot in the right way. And I think it's very clever how it's done, because even though it's slow, it's still intense, because you don't know what's gonna happen. Is he gonna make the shot? Will he miss it? Is someone else gonna get in the way? It's done in a way that builds up this suspense and this intensity, but at the same time, you're just sit there glued to the screen watching like what's going to happen. And Bianca's character comes into play as she's kind of taking notes of this, and she's really putting in her time to figure out like, who is this person? Is like, you know, who could this be? And trying to breadcrumb this to find like who are the best assassins that have been trained, and, you know, who do they know? Were they trained by someone? Is there a friend that they know that could pull off these shots? So we're getting a lot of this cat and mouse chase sequences of following the Jackal basically through Europe, and then also kind of going back and forth into their backgrounds and why, you know, who these people are and setting them up. And I think it's very, very well done. if I had to nitpick any little thing, it's that about a third of this movie is spoken in a foreign language. So there are subtitles. I thought the subtitles are quite small. There was a couple of moments where I had to like pause and go back to like make sure I'm reading what's going on. And a lot of this is through the Jackal's family, because we're getting this like spider web of background information on this character that really builds upon like why he makes his decisions and what kind of pushes him to move through Europe and handle his life versus his life as an assassin. Really quite fascinating. Definitely ends on a cliffhanger, so I'm hoping that we can get a second season to continue on with this story. Like I said, there's a couple of movies based on this story, but here we're getting a drawn out, more of a slow burn pace, but I think it quite works. I think the acting is great. If you're familiar with Eddie Redmayne, most of what he does in a lot of his other movies, we see that brought in to this character, but I think it's done well. As for Lynch, I was a big fan of her in No Time to Die, and she definitely has this like spy agent element, and she brings that energy to this series as well. So like I said, I got hooked on this one. I would give this a strong recommend to watch this. It's currently on Peacock, so if you have that, be sure to check it out. If you saw it, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you have other assassination spy type movies or series that you're a fan of? Let's talk about that. Seems like there's a lot more of these popping up. I'm currently trying to find time to watch The Agency. Only seen the first episode, so I'm curious to see where this one's gonna go, but I'm continuously watching that one, and we'll do a review on that later. Once again, if you're new here, my name's Luke. Be sure to subscribe to my channel to get notified when more reviews drop. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Also, I'm an app developer. I have an app out in the App Store for kind of sharing your scores on movies or series, I guess. So you can check it out. It's free to download and check out. Once again, thanks so much, and I'll be back soon with more reviews.